In the chilling winter of 1943, the air was thick with despair at the Auschwitz concentration camp. Among the prisoners was a young Jewish woman named Miriam, whose spirit remained unbroken despite the horrors surrounding her. She was known for her kindness, often sharing the little food she had with others, and her quiet strength inspired those around her to hold on to hope, even in the darkest of times. On the other side of the barbed wire, a young Nazi officer named Hans patrolled the camp. Unlike many of his peers, Hans was not driven by hatred or blind allegiance to the regime. Instead, he was a man caught in the tide of war, struggling with the moral implications of his role. As he walked the perimeter, he often found his gaze drawn to Miriam, her resilience and warmth a stark contrast to the cold brutality of the camp. Their paths crossed one fateful day when Hans was ordered to oversee the distribution of rations. Miriam, standing in line, caught his eye with a soft smile, a gesture of humanity that pierced through the layers of his indoctrination. In that moment, Hans felt a stirring of emotions he had long suppressed, a longing for connection and a deep sense of empathy for the prisoners. As days turned into weeks, Hans found himself seeking out Miriam during his rounds, their exchanges growing from fleeting glances to whispered conversations. They spoke of their lives before the war, sharing dreams and fears in hushed tones. Miriam's stories of her family and her love for music touched Hans deeply, awakening a part of him that had been dormant since the war began. Despite the risk, Hans began to leave small tokens for Miriam, a piece of bread, a warm blanket, acts of defiance against the regime he served. These gestures, though small, were lifelines for Miriam, providing her not only with sustenance, but also with a sense of being seen and valued amidst the dehumanization of the camp. As their bond deepened, Hans was tormented by the knowledge of Miriam's impending fate. The camp's operations were relentless, and he knew that her time was running out. Desperate to save her, Hans considered the impossible, helping her escape. But the reality of the camp's tight security and the consequences of being caught loomed large, making the plan seem more like a dream than a possibility. One night, under the cover of darkness, Hans approached Miriam with a heavy heart. He confessed his feelings, his voice trembling with the weight of his emotions. Miriam, though touched by his words, understood the impossibility of their situation. She thanked him for his kindness, for seeing her as a person rather than a prisoner, and urged him to remember her not as a victim, but as a symbol of resilience. The following morning, the camp was abuzz with activity as a new transport of prisoners arrived. In the chaos, Hans searched for Miriam, hoping for one last moment together. But she was gone, swept away by the merciless machinery of the Holocaust. Hans stood alone, the weight of his uniform heavier than ever, his heart aching with loss and regret. In the years that followed, Hans carried Miriam's memory with him, a constant reminder of the humanity he found amidst inhumanity. Her spirit lived on in his actions as he dedicated his life to ensuring that such atrocities would never happen again. Though he could not save her, Miriam's legacy endured, a testament to the power of love and compassion in the face of unimaginable evil.